so much fun to watch guys kind of come into the show, know who they are, feeling more and more comfortable with every rep they get. But we're still kind of at the point early enough in camp that we know they're all going to be a factor, they're all going to play. And just continuing to push the competitiveness and said focusing on winning the day, and you'll get rewarded the next day with that mentality.
The way Bob did it, it was just essentially Leo and Jack last year, and then obviously Masculinus filled in at times. But do you envision that at the same time? Think having to be two guys, or do you envision all those guys being able to play?
I mean, I envision all that whole group being able to play, and I think there's a little bit more youth and inexperience where you want sometimes to be able to, or individually, right? Like take a series, take it all in, right? What's happening, how they attack us. I think sometimes young guys, when you limit their pitch count a little bit, can help them just see the game, settle down at times, allow them. Sometimes the special teams rep is your best rep because you just get to let it go and play. So kind of allowing those guys to have some of those reps as well, rather than just saying you're the two guys, get ready to go. And guys may continue to separate. There's guys that can do physically some special things. You're not taking them off the field just to take them off. So, but I think at this point in camp, very pleased with the progress of that group and want to just keep it going.
With Alex, is there any timetable on when you think you're going to get him back?
Hamstrings for corners are tough, right? So we're not trying to rush him. We know what he's done. He's played a lot of ball for us. He had a tremendous spring and summer. The biggest thing is hopefully when he comes back, no setbacks. So we're trying to be smart with him. And it's hard to be patient. He knows that. He wants to get out here and compete with these guys. We have a group that is really competitive and pushing each other every day, and it hurts him every day he's not out there. We just want to make sure he continues to progress the right way as we get closer and closer to the finish.
It seems like Rodas took out today, made a bunch of plays. Has he taken a big jump for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, the number one thing about Rodas is how hard he plays. He's a high energy guy that plays extremely fast and twitchy, and there's at times enough inconsistency that he has to work through, but as a coach you just love the passion he plays with, the energy he plays with. He's got little things to clean up, but when he's hot, when he's on, he's a big problem for teams in the run game and how active he is in the pass game. So excited. He's definitely taken big improvement, and he sees opportunity. Obviously, he got that taste last year of getting a decent amount of snaps, and he's a guy who didn't want to leave the field. So it's really fun to watch guys like that continue to grow. They know what their strengths and weaknesses are, and they know he's working on those.
Is this going to be the case, at least from outside expectations, or people I talk to inside the programs? You guys reached the point where it's just kind of that standard doesn't change
Yeah, I mean that's the goal of a program, right? That's the goal of what you're trying to build from recruiting and development. Is reloading, not taking steps back year to year. And this year was a little different, using the transfer portal to create some depth and competition, and at the same time trusting your ability to develop and the willingness of guys to put in the work and develop. So I think we have a lot of depth and competition where maybe coming out of last season, I don't think many people thought that was going to we got guys that I think are taking beyond a bit to build the defense around. It's a pretty good place to start. So I think we have a really good mix of experience and some veterans and some young, hungry guys that have felt like they've waited their turn and put in the work. So every day has been a lot of fun as a coach because a different guy seems to stand out. And as a coordinator, when you're having that, like, you got something to work with. It's not just the same guys over and over that you don't know. It seems like every day there's 2 or 3 guys that flash with what they can do to help you.
With Preston, he obviously dealt with some injuries last year, but you saw him a little bit last fall camp. Where's he taking a jump from there to this year?
Man, it's been such an impressive kind of transition for him. Last year going from really the first time playing safety, He was a high school quarterback who played kind of a little bit of linebacker-ish safety and then came in as a backer. Last spring, really getting into the safety position, but kind of having to figure out how he's got to transition his body, how the movements and the communication that we're asking him to do, and still flashed that ability and some playmaking ability as well. And then I think he had a lot of confidence going in and out of the summer, knowing what he had to work on, and then an injury hit. And really wasn't able to show where he was at, and just battled through that long process, a lot of ups and downs. Seeing a guy right now in fall camp that he put in the work, understands what we do. The football side of it comes, I'm not going to say easy, but because he's put in the work, but he sees things and he understands things really well. And now he looks like a safety. He's kind of made that transition with his body and moving really, really well, and having great awareness on the field. So it's really fun when you watch guys who put in that work and gone through some adversity that they kind of question things and kind of coming out the other side and playing really consistent football for us. So excited for a guy like that.
You mentioned guys popping on limited pitch counts. One of those guys last year was Jordan Turner for you. If he does come out of there as a starter, what's his skill set bring to your defense? And how do you kind of see him handle this extra workload here in the fall and kind of maybe prepare for that role?
Yeah, he's impressive. Physically you look at him and you're like, wow, he's big, he's physical, he can run, he's a striker, probably runs as well as any backer we've had here recently out of that inside backer groups. But when you start talking the physical side, sometimes you overlook, like he understands ball. He gets it, he can communicate. So it's a lot of fun just pushing him, because the ceiling is extremely high with what he can do, and obviously on a limited plays, he proved last year he's a big play capabilities, and it's fun. And Tate is kind of consistent. He's been that consistent guy that knows who he is, what his capabilities are, and he's by far playing his best football. So it's been a good back and forth between those guys. But Jordan, yeah, he can do some special things on the field, and just continuing to get him to understand he can just let it all go, play, right? Learn every rep, and we'll get you on and off the field right now to give you some time. Just continue to learn to play at that high level consistently.
Titus, he missed all of last year, and now he's kind of trying to reacclimate himself back to being on the field. I guess I'm just wondering, has he made any initial impressions, anything that and what have they been?
Yeah, another guy that it's just so fun to coach. Guys who've gone through adversity and said they don't know. Like, you go through injuries that just kind of nag and you can't seem to knock it. Guys start really questioning whether I'm going to be the same guy. And the biggest thing with him coming out is every day, right? Every day coming out, being available and pushing through little things. He's gaining a lot of confidence from that. Naturally, he's so fun to watch because he moves. Like, the way he moves and does things, it's like that's it. That's what you want it to look like. So, to me, it's big confidence. Now he's trusting his bodies where he can just go out there every day and compete, and just getting in that rhythm after missing a lot of ball. And I think he's got some big play capabilities, physical. He can do a lot of things in this defense. So the safety group as a whole, versatility and physicality is very high, and he's right in the mix.
We've had a lot of senior transfer corners, obviously. Is there anybody else that's pushing those guys and stepping up in fall camp?
Yeah, absolutely. Of the guys that were here, Alex Smith was a guy who was phenomenal this spring and this summer for us. Obviously, very limited what he's been able to do this fall camp for us, but really excited about where his game is at, and elevated really everything. Another guy who just stands up every day is probably as consistent as the guy he knows who he is, man. He's got tremendous feet, and he's very competitive. He's been really, really good in a lot of different situations for us, and it's like day in and day out. He's been right at the top of that group as far as how consistent he's playing. Samar Melvin, another guy coming off an injury that you just weren't sure exactly where his body was going to be. He feels the best he's felt in a long time. And he's very competitive, long, really, really long, and can run. He's made some big plays for us this camp. So I think the competition, there was a little bit of hesitancy, I think, of kind of how is this group going to play out when you bring in guys, and I think they've gotten really close this summer, and they kind of bonded over how competitive they are and how hard they work. So it's been fun to watch that group of guys that were here, and then another young guy, Avion Jones, is flashing a lot of ability, and we put a ton on him in the spring, having him play safety and corner. We've kind of settled him in more at corner this fall camp, and he's kind of showing his natural ability on a daily basis too.
Like Daryl Peterson, he went out today, but he seems like he's kind of settled in that spot, and then CJ watching each other for time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think DP took a huge step, that second half of the season where you kind of knew he's ready to go, and we were obviously able to get him in the bowl game and play him a decent amount of snaps. This spring, winter was really big for him, just taking another step forward. Spring probably we hampered him a little bit by flipping him from field to boundary a lot, and he learned a ton, right? Different skill set, different kind of rules, different things we asked that position to do, and from a health perspective in the spring we kind of had to do that, and then now in fall camp we've been able to settle him in to the boundary and kind of battling with CJ Getz, and every day those guys are going back and forth. It's really fun to see kind of the physicality, the playmaking of those two guys, and I think he's grown. He knows what we're going to ask him to do and how he can impact this thing, and he's bringing that every day.
Is his work ethic a little bit different? It seems like he at least he talks about it, how much time he puts in.
He's a grinder. He is a guy that knows what he wants. He has very high goals, and he's going to put in the time. Last season, I would say maybe outside of Herbig, he was up in our offices more than anything. Just who he is, how he's wired. So it's obviously fun to coach you guys. You get guys that aren't playing a lot of snaps, that are putting in that time. As coaches, you trust it's going to happen. Right? It's going to happen for them, and they're going to be a factor sooner than later. So he's awesome personality. Guys like being around him, coaches like being around him, because you see the drive and the hunger he has, and he's sometimes you forget how young he is because he's a very mature kid.
Thanks.